Oh, hi, Dodgers. Is that one already taken? Welcome to 2024. It's me, your old pal Symes here. Thought I'd just drop in at the top to do one of those intros that all the big podcast gurus do. Hope you had a nice festive season. Mine was busy, but delightful. And we are back. It's 2024, and it's a big year for Dodge This Action Movies Unleashed. Just wanted to stress I do know the actual title of my own podcast, although that may or may not be reflected in the intro to this episode. Nonetheless, we got a lot to get through. If you're missing Matthew, you're not alone, but he has both figuratively and now literally got his hands so full that I will try to pin him down at some point in this season. TBC. However, the reason I bring it up is because during aforementioned festive season, it was my birthday. Thanks so much for the gifts and cards. And Matthew delivered a voice note for the ages that he had been sitting on since several months prior when he hosted Comic-Con in, I believe, Belgium. Please enjoy this voice note as much as I did.
Yo, Simon, happy birthday. Just a quick message from someone for you.
All right, Simon, happy birthday, mate. No idea how old you are, but here you've got an action podcast, so yes, happy birthday. Keep flying the flag for action. Action. Well done, mate.
I know you're going to love that.
Absolutely incredible work, Matthew. I can't thank you enough for that. If you know, you know. And if you don't, well, just ask me and I'll tell you. Let's do an episode, shall we?
I am the most complete fighter in the world.
Yippee-ki-yay,
You can call it the art of fighting without fighting.
Stick around. Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
Dodge this.
It's nothing but good welcome to Season 3, Episode 7 of Dodge This Action Movies Unplugged. It's our first episode in the year of our Lord, 2024. It turns out that the Christmas break was a little bit longer than a lot of us were expecting. I was jet-setting around Europe. Thankfully, during that jet-setting, I ran into a good old friend of mine and remembered he likes films. As such, in order for us to kick off the new year and talk about the French international action extravaganza Farang, rebranded as Mayhem ! For its international release, I welcome my good friend, Mr. Tom Levin. Hi, Tom.
Thank you so much for having me on your podcast, Simon.
Why is it that every time you say that, I think you're being sarcastic, even though you expressed a lot of enthusiasm when I saw you in the pub?
So I'm cursed with a sarcastic voice. And often I've said something which is genuinely sincere to someone, and they've been like, all right, mate. But it's just this is my voice, and I can't control it, I'm afraid.
Wow.
I'm sorry for your loss, for example.
Right. Radio is your medium in that regard. When you can't even see your face, so you don't know. You've only got. It's like trying to do sarcasm in a text message.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know that I'm grinning.
Yeah, constantly.
But the audience at home, obviously, well, no idea.
They're just furious.
I'm genuinely buzzing to be discussing this French action movie with you. Can you hear me play? Can you hear me play with a button?
What button is it?
It's a button off
a
jacket.
I thought you meant like it was a button on your keyboard.
No,
or
sorry.
Something.
I'm so sorry if that's noisy. Do you know what? I'll just stop doing it.
Yeah, no, absolutely can. You're a man who works in TV. I feel like I don't need to explain how sound works to you, but we've got a lot to get through. I would say any sort of distractionary noises, any background stuff, if you've got like a fidget spinner or anything there, just leave it till afterwards would be my shout.
I'm 37, Simon. My flat's full of fidget spinners.
and hoverboards.
Yeah, all cool stuff. Sorry, I made noise with the button again.
He's gone back to the button straight away.
I'm so sorry.
It's
Do
an
you know what?
auspicious start.
I'm going to put it in the tray.
Oh my God, the tray full of other noisy things. Anyway,
Yes.
Tom, for those of you who don't know, you're a Foley artist, isn't that
Sorry.
right?
So sorry. I'm Simon. I'm so sorry. I feel like I've off to. You know what? This is mayhem! Exclamation mark.
Oh God, he's tied it in so poorly. Tom, I know you from. You're quite a mayhemy performer. You're an improviser. You are a filmmaker, a television director. Is that a separate term? Or would you say that comes under the banner of filmmaker?
Hey, I'm an artist and I paint with many brushes, Simon.
I forgot that as well. You're actually a bloody good painter as well. That wasn't
thanks,
even on my
man.
list of bullet points to chuck out. But yes, people should check out your artwork. Have you got any spare ones kicking around yet? Have you sold them all?
They're all in the loft.
That's great news. Are you trying to shift them for the new year? Do you want to?
Yeah,
maybe,
big time. Yeah, big time.
Great stuff. Great stuff. Where can people see them?
Go on my Instagram, DM me. They're very cheap. I've got to get rid of them. They're just taking up too much space, hence going in the loft.
They're big units. I'm a huge fan of them, and I do keep threatening to take one off your hands, but then I keep moving to other countries where it's probably prohibitively expensive to ship them. But thanks for joining. And as I sort of mentioned you painting, I'm immediately put in mind of your exhibition of art that you did that I came along to once and made a very enthusiastic Instagram story about. Do you want to briefly explain that to the listener, or shall I sort of summarize it for you?
I can if you like.
I'd love you to.
When I was 20 for a year, I took a picture of every meal that I had and every I guess poo that I did as well. And then when I was 30 for a year, I did the same thing. And in the exhibition that you're referring to, all of the pictures were all over one wall of this gallery. And there's about 400, 500 other pictures that didn't make it as well. Just didn't have the space for them.
Of shits that you'd done?
Well, yeah, the food and the excrement as well, yeah.
Well, I was just going to say, if there was 400 in addition to this circa 365, I could talk about shit that's for another podcast. But people do 2 a day. I'm just a 1 a day man. It was an extraordinary sight, I have to say. There was also some other more family friendly, delightful paintings in there. You're a man of many shades. And I'm not talking about shit.
Well, you say family friendly, but the gallery goers who are most enthusiastic were children.
Wow.
Because a lot of people brought their kids to see it, and the kids were going mad because the idea that a grown-up had taken pictures of their poo-poo and put it on the wall, and you could see it in an adult environment that wasn't medical. They were laughing, they were running around, and then people found it really disgusting, obviously, as well.
Of course.
And you know what? I can't even really tell you why I did it. But I'm going to do it again when I'm 40 and then when I'm 50, and if I live longer than that.
You do
60,
sound
70.
like a serial killer.
Well, yeah, but I guess it's,
I couldn't tell you why I did it, but I will do it again.
Well, how did it make you feel looking at it?
That's a great question for art, I suppose, isn't it? Is how does it make you feel? I looked at it from quite a clinical perspective, I think, as someone who in his later years, which I guess I'm in now, self-described later years, I think from the age of about late 30s, right? Even I am, still late 30s casting age, but real life late 30s. I started being more aware, as I think most people are, of their guts and stomach. And I've had a few, just a bit of IBS type stuff. So I was looking at it from a very interested way. Like, you don't get to see other people's shits. What do other people's shits look like? Very, very different. Very different.
Yeah, well, I think that's it. It's such an intimate portrait of a person.
Intimate's the word, isn't it? Yeah.
And you never ever see that side of someone. And why is it disgusting?
I talk about it endlessly.
Yeah, I mean, I understand. Obviously, I'm not naive. I understand why it's disgusting. But if it gives you the potential to have that conversation with someone when you're looking at it. That's an interesting thing to make someone think. I'm not crazy about the fact that my name is and my identity is so connected with that as I get a bit older.
But you do plan to continue it every 10 years.
But when I was 20, I thought, because I used to be in a punk band, and I was like, I just take pictures of my shit, man. and it'll be art. And now I'm like, why am I still doing this?
Wow.
I spend my money on cushions and rugs nowadays instead of like Stella and hash. What am I doing?
Right.
Taking pictures of my poo and showing it to strangers in a gallery.
Yeah.
But I do think but I also think commit to it. If you're going to take a picture of every shit you have for a year, every decade of your life, what a thing to look back on. Because the other thing is, you can see it's not just a picture of a plate of cereal. It's like the person that I'm with at the time.
Right.
So that changes, obviously, even the difference between 20 and 30 is a massive difference.
Well, you told me before that you had porridge for breakfast with banana and some granola sprinkled on it. I'm sure when you were 20, it was mainly Fruit Loops and Stella.
Yeah.
I mean, I know mine was. And meth. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I would say with every decade, it becomes more art in a way, doesn't it? Because what is art if it's not commitment?
Yeah.
Put that on your bit of driftwood.
Yeah. But also, you would really get a very unique picture of how a person has chosen to live their life.
Yeah.
Over that time and how they've developed. If I'm silly, let's put it this way: if I'm eating the same meals when I'm 40 as I was when I was 20, I'm a legend.
You're right. You're either an incredible chef at a young age, or you've got the innards of steel that have not suffered from gastro reflux or any of that business.
I suppose it's another Goodfellas frozen pizza for lunch on a Tuesday, is it?
Tom, I would love to talk more about your poops for the whole podcast, but as I say,
it's not making it in, is it? Is it making it in any of that?
Of course, it's all grist to the mill, isn't it? Literally and figuratively. We're painting the picture of the man. Let's not end with a sort of shitty taste in our mouth. So, because recently you've worked on some exciting TV shows.
I make a lot of TV shows with Rosie Jones.
Love it.
And if you don't know who she is, she's a comedian from the north of England who's gay and she's got cerebral palsy. So she gets a lot of TV shows made because minorities are big business at the moment. And but mainly that was me doing a little funny joke because mainly she is like really, really hilarious. Yeah. And I'm super lucky because she wants to work with me. So I get to direct her travel show for Channel 4. We did 2 series of it. She got nominated for a BAFTA.
Hello.
For her brilliant presenting in the 2nd series. Didn't win, but I think you'll agree that we got a much more important award, which is the Edinburgh TV Festival Best Popular Factual Series Award.
That's what I recognised it on the shelf behind you.
That's it. And as a little boy, I dreamed of winning an Edinburgh TV Best Popular Factual Award. And then I've just made a series for Sky with 2 comedians, Josh Widdicombe and Nish Kumar, called Hold the Front Page.
Good lads.
Lovely guys. Funny show. And we're just finishing that now.
So you're a busy boy is what we're finding out.
Yeah. Did a short film for Disney last year as well.
This I did not know about.
Yeah. Made a short film for Disney Corporation. Had its premiere at the London Film Festival.
Is this because they'd heard about your exhibition of shit?
Yeah. Tom, Disney are on the line. They went to that tiny gallery that 30 people could get in East London in 2018.
That's incredible. Can we watch your Disney film, please?
Not yet. It's not out, but we hope it'll be on Disney Plus pretty soon.
Quick synopsis?
Yeah, it's a short film about a group of disabled Dungeons and Dragons players. And half of it's in the real world and half of it's animated like 80s action, like He-Man style action animation.
I'm in.
And what they get bullied by some kids in the real world, and that they're represented by dragons in the animated world, and they got to fight them.
That's very fun.
Yeah, it's cool. Rosie's in that, and I co-wrote it with a guy called Adam Pearson, who you may know from the Scarlett Johansson film Under the Skin.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
He's acting in that as well. So yeah, it's a nice little film.
I'm excited to keep my eyes out for that. Speaking of films...
Welcome to the party, pal!
Have you...
What a segue. What a segue.
I'm a professional, I don't know what to tell you. Have you seen any other films, apart from Farang, a.k.a. Mayhem, exclamation mark, recently? Have you... anything popped up on your radar? It can be TV as well.
I saw Wonka in the cinema.
Interesting.
The new the film from the director, the creative team behind Paddington 2.
That's just reminded me that I watched Paddington over Christmas for the first time.
Oh my God, what a film.
Great movie.
But Paddington 1, not Paddington 2, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the first Paddington.
Have you seen Paddington 2?
No, I've heard it's even better.
It's one of the best films ever made. It's faultless.
I will have to watch it.
Yeah, it's incredible. And actually, funnily enough, you mentioned that. I don't want to keep going about this exhibition, but I was very, very tired when I was doing that exhibition. And on the last night of it, I went to go to the cinema by myself to watch Paddington 2. And from the very start of it until the very end, I was weeping, right? And there was a little girl next to me with her mum. And the little girl turned to her mum and said, Mummy, what's wrong with that man? And I couldn't turn around and say, I've been doing a very stressful exhibition about my feces.
Yeah. It's tough to get that across, isn't it, in a sentence to a child?
Exactly. You're telling me. Are you ready for some amazing Foley, by the way?
Oh, boy. Here we go.
Oh, my God.
He's emptying out his bucket of buttons.
There you go.
Thank you so much.
That's
Sorry,
good.
I derailed you. My one was I saw Paddington, really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it so much that despite the fact that I couldn't turn off motion smoothing on my in-laws' TV, I still enjoyed it.
Wow, that is actually a massive compliment, genuinely. Why do they set... What? No, genuine question. Well, it's for sport, isn't it?
It is for sport. Well, I think it works for sport best, right? But somehow it's seeped into the default settings.
I think it would be quite a good idea to go around to everyone's mum and dad's house in the country and just that'd be a government. If Keir Starmer came out and said, look, our big initiative, this is our big push, we're going to turn motion blurring off, whatever the hell it's called.
Yeah,
I would vote for him.
Well, I mean, that would be the TV industry would vote for him, wouldn't it? But I don't
if
suppose
Farage
that would really sway. That would be the one. Get him back. 4 more years.
It is so offensive, isn't it?
It's just ridiculous.
And I don't know if you must have had this experience, because I find it disgusting as well. If you turn it off on someone's TV, they're like, oh my God, that's much better.
I can't tell the difference all the time, and it blows my mind.
Wow,
I'm surrounded by people who can't tell the difference.
And that's fine, but I've had it where the person said, oh my God, that's so much better. And how long have you had this TV? They're like 8 years or something crazy. They've been watching, let's say The Godfather, but it looks like Hollyoaks.
Yeah. Yeah. Dreadful business. The one thing I will say, at least it was Paddington, which it made it look like an after-school ITV sitcom, which is, which is not what you want a feature film to look like. But given the subject matter and it being Paddington and stuff, it was like almost bearable. But it did sort of just look like Nicole Kidman had popped up on an episode of Funhouse. Like it was weird. Please talk to me about Wonka.
You're in for such a treat with Paddington 2, by the way, because it is so beautiful. I heard that the Paul King, the director, his two major influences are Wes Anderson and Jean-Pierre Jeunet.
Okay, yeah, that checks out. Yeah,
and you can really tell, like especially in 2, it just has the most incredible sequence. It has also, I'm going to say, one of the best last lines in film history.
Ooh. It's
so beautiful. I think there should be, when robots take over the world and you're like, who's a robot and who's human? I think that the test should be, can you watch the end of Paddington 2 without crying? If you can, you're a robot.
Oh, no.
It's so gorgeous.
I've got no chance then. I'm a weeper.
I cried
in movies.
Absolutely everything. I cried in Wonka.
I thought you were going to say you cried during this movie. Yeah. There are a couple of moments where I was a little bit like, that little girl is doing quite good crying acting. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
I think I might shed a tear in Wonka. I imagine it's a family film. There's probably the emotional highs and lows. Well, is it good though? I've heard sort of mixed things. Or did you enjoy it?
I just love the world of it, and I thought it was really funny. And some of the performances was so broad. Like there's these it's the chocolate cartel, right? They have the bad guys.
Okay.
It's Patterson Joseph Johnson from Peep Show, Matt Lucas, and one of the guys, I can't remember his name, but the guy from Ghosts who plays the kind of poet who's in love with the main girl, Charlotte Ritchie, in it. Anyway, their performances are so unbelievably massive. They're like panto on like Blackpool Pier playing to the back of the room the whole time, and it's so I found it like just hilarious that they thought it was okay to do that
in a movie.
Yeah, and also all the other actors, all the little actors like Olivia Colman and Tom Davies are in it, and just everyone's brilliant. It looks phenomenal, but Timothée Chalamet is totally wrong, I would say, as Wonka, and apparently it's given a whole generation of girls who fancied him the ick for Timothée Chalamet, because Wonka, you have to really commit to that role. I mean, the guy's got a screw loose. Sorry, spoiler.
A kid died.
But he's nice.
Don't know if that's reflected in the remake or not.
No. He's nice. He's a sweet guy in it. He's not scary at all. But there's a particular line which will probably end up being quite famous for Timothée Chalamet, where he goes, "How do you want your chocolate? Delicious, beautiful, absolutely insane." And he does it in this way that's like there's no way that when they were filming that, the whole room didn't just go, "He can't do it like that." It's just it absolutely insane. It's like he's like, how should I? He has no idea how to be Willy Wonka, basically. So he's just it's a complete mess.
Wow.
But anyway, Wonka, I would say I've really enjoyed Fargo season 5.
Oof.
Have you seen it?
Yeah. No, I've only watched
so
season 1. And with each season, I'm like, oh God, there's another season to watch. I've got to catch up.
It might be the best one.
Really?
Yeah. Fargo season 5 is great. The Curse, the new Nathan Fielder, surely your brother, your dad?
Yeah. Related. Nathan Fielder spelt the other way.
Oh, is it? Sorry.
No, I just watched the rehearsal, and
what did you think?
I mean, not just, but like, last year, I suppose. Now, well, it was just, I mean, it was the first episode just blew my mind. I was just like,
incredible.
I don't know how do you make this? I just had no concept of how you conceive the concept. It was just so much. It was so much. It was incredible.
HBO must have just signed a blank check for him to do whatever the hell he wanted, and then given him like 1,000 people to make it with him. It's mad. But then it goes south though, doesn't it? It goes really wonky. It starts
very, very strong, and it's sort of I don't know. I don't want to say it peters out, but it's sort of. I think it does kind of tie up all right at the end, doesn't it? But it starts episodic, and then it kind of has a serial plot, if you will, over a few episodes, doesn't it?
Which is just sort of meaningless, I felt. So when it became about him, I just didn't care as much. Right. You know?
I watched, this is something you might quite like, actually, because it's unexpectedly quirky. BLACKBERRY. Have you seen this?
I can't wait to see that film. I've not seen it. It's Glenn Howerton, isn't it?
Correct, from It's Always Sunny.
Yeah.
Sporting an incredible hairstyle, I suppose. It's a sort of, it's like balding on top and hair around the sides, like Cruz in Magnolia.
Tropic Thunder.
Tropic Thunder.
Magnolia, he's got a lovely head of hair.
That's right. He's got too much hair in that, hasn't he? Tropic Thunder, he's got weird hands, very hairy hands. Houghton is great in it, actually. Everyone is great in it. It's the story of BlackBerry, the handheld email telephone device, but sort of told through the lens of like a quirky Canadian indie comedy. Very enjoyable.
I've been obsessed. I have been for many years, but recently my obsession's gone into the sort of even niche area of this genre, which is the Christmas rom-com.
Oh my goodness.
Now, I'm not talking about the holiday. I'm talking about catering Christmas. I'm talking about baking all the way.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I'm talking about Christmas at the drive-in. These films are, I'm convinced, the funniest films ever made.
I actually have seen one of them over the Christmas period. My girlfriend watched one, and I was in the room.
Was it B&B Merry? Christmas Inheritance? A Christmas Prince? Princess Switch?
Ooh.
The night before Christmas is actually genuinely good. When a knight comes back to medieval times to the modern day, and he falls in love with a girl.
Sorry, I didn't hear the K.
And now, our feature presentation.
Dodge this.
I'm sure you know this fact about Farang, that and you can tell, I think, when you watch it, that the director directed You Say It Best When You Say Nothing At All, the Ronan Keating music video. Did you have that in your locker to bring that up?
I didn't think there was going to be a better seg into our feature presentation than that.
You must have looked that up and found that out.
I skimmed his IMDb, and that did stand out to me, but I didn't make a mental note of it. So thank you so much for bringing that up.
That's okay.
Because it's very interesting to note. This is the director of this movie, Xavier Gens. I don't know how you pronounce that. Gens. I want to say Gens, but Gens, maybe French. I did study French. Never come across that.
You know, my dad would just call him Gens.
Yeah, Xavier Gens. If we're going to anglicize it, who is a French director who's directed a whole bunch of stuff, but I'm often intrigued. He directed the American video game adaptation of Hitman. And so scrolling back, I was like, what launched him into Hitman? You know, what was the movie, or what joined the dots that led to Hitman? And obviously it was Ronan Keating's You Say It Best When You Say Nothing At All. That goes without saying, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's just some violence bubbling under in the whole video. I've actually never seen that music video, but I'm sure there are some very vicious stabbings in that. So
Hitman was in 2007, and since then there's been TBH, nothing I've seen until Gangs of London. Did you watch Gangs of London?
No, did not watch Gangs of London. Okay,
he directed 3 episodes of that, which, again, the final 3 episodes of the first season, and it's very interesting for if you've seen the first season of Gangs of London, it peaks at episode 5, and then 6, 7, and 8 for me just sort of petered out, which is unfortunate when I noticed that he had directed those 3 episodes. Also, he's directed 3 episodes of Lupin recently.
Oh yeah,
on Netflix. I don't know if you saw that. I watched the first episode and thought it was fine. Let's just sort of set out the stall of the movie. I imagine if you're coming to this podcast, you've probably seen the movie or have some interest in the movie. But nonetheless, I like to force my guests to kind of sum up the plot of this movie. Yeah. It's from France. It's Xavier Gens, who is the director of Hitman and some episodes of Gangs of London. It's called Farang in its native country, France. However, for its international release, it has been rebranded as Mayhem! ! I feel like there's a talking point on the titling or rebranding of movies internationally, Tom, that we could absolutely get into.
Would love to.
I was also put in mind of the TV show that you made with Joel Dommett and Nish Kumar about them going around the world, and you were kind of trying to come up with titles for that. We were pitching titles, and I think we landed on International Sports Challenge. That title did not make it to air.
The show, so this is a TV show that I worked on as a producer and cameraman in 2016. It was on Netflix for a while as Joel and Nish versus the World.
That's
Joel Dommett
right.
and Nish Kumar going testing Joel Dommett's strength against tribes around the world. But internationally, it was sold as Tribal Boot Camp.
Was it?
Yeah. So,
well, that is an interesting turn of events.
But do you know a very, very fun Google search for you, listeners, and indeed Simon, is translating Chinese titles of films back, which I'm sure you've done before. And the best one is, of course, The Sixth Sense, which the Chinese translation translates back to English as, "He's a ghost."
Saves 2 hours.
So good.
Give us a little plot summary, if you will.
Right.
You don't have to do any big spoilers, but I think you can get the sort of synopsis out.
I got it. So the sexiest man who's ever walked God's green earth is in
Good
prison.
Lord, he's gone straight for it.
It's the main point I have to make about this film is the guy is too gorgeous to be an action star.
I didn't want to get to his abs already.
Well, that's it. It's just basically, it's like the guy has perfect abs. And the problem is that just before I started watching it, I ate, well, I'll tell you that I'll go back another step. In Sainsbury's, there was a punnet of don't pick up the button, restrain yourself from picking up the button.
That would be a good name for a TV show, actually.
Yeah. What, restrain yourself from picking up the button? It's too long.
Don't pick up the button.
You're not good at titles.
International Sports Challenge? Come on.
So, yeah, before I watched the film, I was in Sainsbury's and I went to the reduced baked goods section.
What a life.
And there was mini, millionaire's shortbreads. And I ate the whole box, 79p's worth. And then I watched this man with like the most perfect body ever in the history of cinema, just smashing people's brains out. And I just thought, God, I've got to stop eating those reduced baked goods if I'm going to turn up like my hero.
That's what's holding you back.
Yeah, but anyway, the plot is that there's a guy. he's clearly very hard and tough and silent, and he gets released from prison, and he's trying to be a good boy. He's trying to do the right thing. It's clear that some kind of criminal gang, he's been involved with some kind of criminal gang in the past. They try and get him back into the crime world. He goes, no, thank you. I'm happy doing my job on the building site. Thank you very much. But they're having none of it. And then they start to chase him down. He gets into a fight. He does something regrettable. No spoilers. 5 years later, he's in Thailand.
Just popped to Thailand.
He's got a criminal past. We know that he's running away from something terrible. And he's got an absolutely lovely wife who's half Thai, half French. He's got a stepdaughter. He has a baby that you never see, ? Was that
True
clear
story.
to you? I was like, what's going on with that?
Yes.
Or when he says the baby, does he mean the stepdaughter? I don't know.
No, his girlfriend /wife is pregnant, I believe. Yes.
Oh my God, that makes the whole film much sadder, me realising that piece of information.
Oh yeah.
But basically, he's trying to earn money because classic story, his wife wants to buy a beach. Classic
stuff. If it isn't a beach, it's a Christmas farm.
We've all been there,
Sure.
It's your girlfriend's birthday. She wants a Thai beach. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? I suppose enter the criminal underworld in Thailand. So he's doing 3 jobs actually. Bless him. He's a fisherman.
He's busy, yeah.
Yeah, he works at a hotel, and he's a brilliant at Thai boxing and seems to be way better at it than any Thai person. Anyway, but he's throwing matches to earn money. And then basically it's not enough money. It's not enough money to buy the beach. So he has to do a criminal activity. It goes horribly wrong. And then he takes revenge on the people that made it go horribly wrong. And that's I've told you everything up until the inciting incident of the film. Everything else would be a spoiler. But it's basically it's an exciting, very, very violent revenge movie. Or it becomes that.
The spoilerific nature is, I don't think we're going to ruin anything by sort of comparing it to other classic revenge movies, or I think the obvious touch point to some degree is Taken, which doesn't, I mean, it's not a huge spoiler. People die or get taken away, and he's mad about it.
And he wants to take it's his daughter. His daughter gets taken away. I think it's okay. Also, it'll make you want to watch it, basically.
It probably says it on IMDb.
Yeah, it says it. And he wants to get his stepdaughter. He wants to get his stepdaughter back, and let me tell you, he goes to great lengths to do so.
I'll tell you what it says on IMDb. He starts over in Thailand until a local criminal coerces him back into crime. After this man attacks his family, he vows revenge.
Why'd you make me do that whole thing?
Yeah, I should have read it out.
Should have read that out.
Sorry about that.
I'm exhausted from the effort of explaining
you did a great
the plot
job.
of that
You
film.
did a great job, actually, and you did it in a very thoughtful, not spoilery way. So Thank you
Well,
for
I
that.
was thinking, what would entice me to see the film, but be enough context to listen to a conversation about it.
Well, when I talked to you last, you said, I mean, I love action movies. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to drop him in with a movie that was on my radar because I'd seen the trailer. And I didn't mention this as we skipped straight to the feature presentation, but keen listeners might have noticed that we didn't talk about any trailers. And that's just something that I'm going to try out for a while on the pod. We're getting straight into the meat of it. I feel like trailers go out of date quite quickly, whereas a good chat about a movie will last a bit longer in the podcast ether, and maybe, God forbid, shave these episodes down to the under an hour that I've constantly threatened and rarely delivered. So, Tom, I thought this is a great one to drop you in. It's probably a movie you wouldn't have necessarily seen yourself.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I don't think, were it not for this podcast, I don't think I would have sought it out. No.
That's very much my MO in a way.
Yeah.
I like to serve these little treats up. And so how have we landed with the old, I still haven't quite got a read on your thoughts and feelings about it. Let's open up the little 11 Pandora's box.
I I give you an example of an action movie that I could watch every single day of my entire life, and I'm absolutely in love with. I love Die Hard, but the film that I really connect to is a film
Crank.
like Yes, Green. but the one that I'm like, this is my kind of action film is Green Room.
Oh, okay, yeah. Gosh, is that even an action movie? It's
almost
it's
a
like
thriller.
A horror.
It's a horror,
degree, isn't it?
a horror and a thriller, I suppose.
Yeah,
maybe I'm, maybe I just don't know what I'm talking about. But
no, it's a great movie. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, but it's, I guess, that sort of darkness and real. When someone gets sliced their arm, when someone's arm is sliced open with a Stanley knife in that film,
horrible.
You really believe it's happening.
Yes,
and you really think the kids might die in it, and and it's not like versus something like Crank, which I adore, and indeed, of course, Crank 2 High Voltage. How could we forget? How can we do a sequel? He's just jumped out of a helicopter or a plane or whatever, and he's dead on the ground. We'll just have him wake up. Easy. Amazing. Is that the most genius piece of creative problem solving you've ever seen in a film? And also, do you remember when they're operating on him and someone ashes their cigarette on his heart in Crank 2 High Voltage?
No respect for any sort of physics, or some might argue the audience, but it did well enough to warrant a sequel.
No, that film is a perfect example. Well, it just illustrates that there is no such thing as rules.
No, it's don't give a fuck filmmaking, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's so exciting to see something like that.
Yeah.
And I suppose I wanted to mention, like, the two ends of the spectrum for me is like Green Room, and Crank. Like, so fun or so scary and dark and violent and real. And then this just sits in the sort of netherworld, I think, in between. So I didn't feel like I really was able to connect with it loads. Like, I don't think for me the hero was iconic enough.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, so I couldn't hang on to that. Like a John Wick or a John McClane or other Johns.
Loads of other Johns, yeah. John
Reacher? Is it John Reacher?
Oh, it's close. It's Jack Reacher.
Yeah, but I think Jack is a kind of a John.
It's kind of a John, isn't it?
But you know what? What was I looking for when I was watching it? I was like, okay, so how violent is the action?
Yeah,
because that's always incredibly exciting.
Well, if you like that sort of horrific brutality of Green Room, this does to some degree deliver some quite. I don't know how to describe it. Visceral. A sort of post the raid, graphic, full on, impactful level of action.
Well, it's funny you mentioned the raid because it feels like basically the whole film is a build up to an amazing climactic action sequence.
Yes, yeah, it does take a while, doesn't it?
It takes its time.
Yeah,
and I think that there are a lot of films, there are a lot of action, especially a lot of contemporary action movies that do that. That are like, that it feels like, do you know what? I'm going to say it. It's very French. I feel like the director's like, no, am I going to do an impression of him? Feels like it.
Sounds like it, yeah.
No, it's all about the emotion. This kind of thing. Don't look at me like that. That was good.
No, I liked it.
It wasn't xenophobic. That's probably what he sounds like.
For once, it didn't sound sarcastic either. It was great.
I meant it. I meant every word of it, Jens. I just feel like you languish in the hero's emotional state too much. And what I was thinking about it when I first watching it was I was like, oh my God, this is really cool, because this could be like, have you seen the film The Driver, Ryan O'Neal, 80s action movie directed by Walter Hill?
I'm sorry, I have not seen that movie.
You would love it. It's amazing. It's him, Bruce Dern, and someone else, I forget who. And Ryan O'Neal says like maybe 3 words in the whole film. He's the main character.
Nice.
And he's a getaway driver.
Love it.
And he just, there's amazing sequence in that film. If anyone who's listening to this has seen it, you'll know the one I'm talking about. It's like someone challenges him. They're like, "You're not that good a driver," and so he gets in their car in a car park and just smashes the car to bits. Like he'll open the door and then reverse out and smash the doors off and smash it in. It's just amazing to watch. Walter Hill, of course, director of The Warriors.
Sure,
48
big fan
Hours.
of Walter Hill, yeah.
So he's in that camp that I mentioned earlier of Green Room, where it's like when someone gets punched, it's like in The Warriors, you're like, they're really going to die, man.
Yeah.
Like, and I care about him so much. And like when there's someone like gets a knife out, or when that the baseball Furies fight, you're like, this is. So I feel like I'm there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you never feel like you're there at crank too high voltage.
No.
Or I don't think in this film.
Okay, yeah. Well, that is a stylistic choice, isn't it?
Yeah,
but, this is more of a, I don't know, for me, this feels above your sort of DTV straight to streaming.
Yeah, for sure.
It feels like more of a movie, and maybe that also speaks to the Frenchness of it, in that, there's a huge movie industry in France, and so everything is just great quality. Like, it looks great. It's, I don't know, I don't think I'm sort of describing it very well. I mean, it's shot in Thailand as well, so like the scenery is beautiful.
You're describing it perfectly.
It doesn't look cheap, I think is a great way to describe it.
It's Canal Plus, isn't it? It starts with the Canal Plus. So you're like, oh my God, it's like Amelie.
Yeah.
And it's definitely like a high quality. The production value is super high.
Yeah.
And like the acting across the board is definitely decent.
Yeah.
But it feels like, I guess it feels like they've got a classy team to make a schlocky script.
Interesting. Yeah.
That's how I felt.
That's not unfair, I think. Yeah, you're right. It's not an out of the box plot, No. We've seen a lot of this before. I think it is quite well executed in terms of action. I think your sort of Frenchness of it, in that they are like, we're making a movie, we're getting performances out of people, we're letting it breathe. So it doesn't have maybe to its benefit on the one hand and to its detriment, it doesn't have the pressure of, this is a movie that we're selling internationally to get the budget. So it needs an action scene in the first 10 minutes. Then it needs an action scene 30 minutes after that. And then it needs a big finale. They're happy to just kind of let it go for almost an hour. There's a couple of little bursts, but it doesn't really kick off until the latter half, the last 40 minutes.
But that's why I think that for most people, it'll be a 3-star film. Because if there was just 2 more big action set pieces, I think it could earn its place as the film that's called Mayhem ! Because it's like
calling it that.
Yeah, because it's like John Wick, for example. You're just like being led from one amazing set piece to another by some sort of flimsy, who knows what the fucking story is of a John Wick film, At
this point.
It's like, who cares? It doesn't matter. You're just like, wow, just blow me away with another sort of like vicious, non-stop slaughter of people who probably have families.
Almost
There's
certainly,
definitely one point in the John Wick, whatever it was, the most recent one, where I was like, dude, is it worth it? You're killing a lot of people here, man.
Too many now.
It's a lot. I mean, surely at least one of those people, do you know what? Just law of averages. I know they're henchmen, but law of averages, at least one of them is really nice.
Fair. Maybe he's just out of prison, he had to take the job for the money because he wanted to buy a Thai beach for his family.
Exactly. He kisses his little stepdaughter goodbye and says, "I'm doing all of this for you."
And then he gets his head beaten in with nunchucks.
Yeah, and thrown down the Champs-Elysees or whatever those steps are called. I know they're not called that. I know they're not called that.
No, I don't know what they're called either.
The Sacré-Cœur.
People forget that the first John Wick movie was a lot less mental than the other ones. Since now we're 4 in and it's become this kind of like carnival of carnage. The first one was, while it did have, plenty of those great action scenes, was a little bit more, I think it took a while to get going just to bring it back to this. It certainly, I don't think, took an hour to get going.
No. Well, there's quite a lot of films. Sorry, I know we want to bring it back to Mayhem, but there's quite a lot of films where the first one is radically different to the rest of it. Rambo is a great example of that.
Yes.
As is Mad Max, actually. Mad Max, everyone from the second one on, it's dystopian future.
Yeah.
First one's kind of, I guess it's like kind of now, isn't it? I can't remember.
I don't remember.
Maybe it's not. But anyway, it's brutal and it's down to earth and it's real and there's no one with like a hockey mask and bondage gear.
Right. Yeah.
Sieging. Yeah, exactly. Oh my God. Not as bad as you remember it being, Thunderdome, can I say? Watched it recently. It's pretty good. Master Blaster. Actually. It's all right. But you can tell that it was written as a film that wasn't a Mad Max film. And then he was like, what about if it's Mad Max?
That's an interesting twist. Didn't know that.
Going back to Farang /Mayhem exclamation mark. I do think the fundamental problem that most people have with it, and that I'll be honest, I was so engaged with it at the start, and then about halfway through, did I look at my phone for a bit? Yes, I did.
Did you?
Even though I had, of course, I was totally committed to your podcast, whatever it's called, Dodge This. But I knew I was going to talk about it, so I had to be engaged with it. But I was still like, God, but did I finish that Wordle? And it's not a good sign, is it really?
That speaks to it needing, if it's going to be an action movie, it needing a good action scene in the first half an hour to make you go, all right, here we go.
I would say, personally, I would say so. Also, do you think, were you irked by the fact that you never discovered, or maybe you did discover it, but it was in the time when I was playing Wordle, why he's such a hard bastard? Or is it just that he's just really good at fighting?
Yeah, no, I think that's sort of something that I can only assume it is a choice, is a script choice, because it kind of skims over stuff that you would argue you don't really need to know, right? Why is he in prison? Does it really matter? Why is he so good at fighting? Does it really matter? How did he actually get to Thailand? Doesn't really matter.
That definitely doesn't matter, yeah.
So we don't know. There's no explanation as to why he's so good at fighting. And there's a sort of bit where when it all really kicks off at the end, he kills someone. The first person he kills.
Yeah, he doesn't like it.
Which is a lady, actually, which is another point I wanted to address. He has a moment where he's sort of, his eyes are like, oh shit. And then like you see his face reflected in the bloody knife. And I don't know if that's like, I've unleashed who I used to be.
Yeah, maybe.
Or like what that is saying.
But do you know what? It's interesting. Maybe I'm completely wrong, and it's almost pointless saying like, "What I wish they'd put this in," because they didn't. You know,
right.
But like, have you seen? What you said just makes me think of a few things. Have you seen the director's cut of Leon, otherwise known as The Professional, in America?
I don't know if I have, and if I have, it was a very long time ago.
So he kisses her.
Oh, yeah.
Or she kisses him.
Yeah.
They do hits on people together.
Heard about this. Don't think I have seen it.
You hear his whole backstory. He says exactly why he came from France, what happened, blah, blah, blah.
And does it make it better?
What it makes it, all the things that make that film great
are the mystery.
It's the mystery. Obviously, him never having contact with her. As soon as that happens, you're like, oh my God, this is explicitly a romantic storyline. You fail to connect with him at that point, right?
Yeah.
Because then you're like, well, why does he like her so much? Like, and the mysteries are completely necessary in my view for that film to work. And actually, I was furious when I saw the director's cut because I love that film.
Yeah,
I love that film so much, and I was like, this ruins it. And I just thought I can't. And it was actually quite a good lesson in filmmaking. It's, they should teach this to film students. Like, the guy wrote and directed this script He filmed a scene where Leon's like, "Oh, I came over from France because blah 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 blah." I love doing that voice.
Lot of French accents from you today. So much range.
Like, so what? But it's amazing how wrong it is.
Yeah.
It's amazing how wrong it is. And also, there's a film called Breakdown, Kurt Russell film. I think from the 90s. I want to say it might be late 80s.
Yeah.
Great film. But I was reading about that because that film is so tight.
Lean.
It's so unbelievably lean, and you don't know anything about any of the characters. You don't know. There's no backstory. The baddie is just a baddie. He just wants money. There's no. And apparently, he said that. Well, he said I read an interview with him, I think, or maybe it's just IMDb trivia. But the baddie looked at the script and he was like, "Can I say like 10% of this dialogue?" And the director was like, "Yeah, sure." And I think there was more stuff like that from that film that I can't remember. But basically, loads of the script, the exposition was stripped out.
Yeah.
And it's just pure, like, this dramatic situation is just explored.
Yeah.
You know, through action. And why am I saying this? Oh yeah, because I sort of felt in this case like I would love even just like for him to look at like his army dog tags or something once.
Right.
Or something like that. So I'm like, oh, that's why he can kill 20 people in a room.
Yeah.
Because I was like, what? Is it just because he's like so good looking that he can do anything?
His abs.
Is it the abs? Is it the abs?
It's got to be the abs. Yeah. I will say the action is pretty solid. Putting aside whoever is getting kicked or punched.
The action is the action and the stunts are incredible. I was actually blown away by two of the stunts. One very early one, when the guy is pushed off the building site.
Yes, and you watch him fall.
Oh my god!
Onto what looks like scaffold poles.
Yeah, but the shot, it's one shot.
Yeah,
and I don't know how the hell they did it.
Really good stuff.
It's brilliantly done because you can see him. I literally was staggered by that stunt.
Yeah,
and also the other one similar.
Are you going to pooch your action replay moment here, or have you got some more in the tank?
Okay, I'll stop.
Oh no! I thought you were going to. Thought these were going to be the prelude to it.
No, because that was one of them.
Gosh, okay. Let's save the other one for once I've played in the jingle and we're fully into action replay moment zone.
I think well, basically there were just a few stunts that were mind bending because they were so well done.
That's a great way to describe it. Yeah, and I will say the action coordinator or the action design on this movie was done by a guy called Jude Poyer, who is a British guy who's worked in stunts for years and years and years, and I think started out in Hong Kong, but worked on Gangs of London in the first season when I would argue it was better than the second season, and some of the episodes were directed by Gareth Evans. The Raid. It's like his baby basically. So there is a sort of connection there. Gareth Evans was also thanked in the credits for this, which is interesting. I don't know, maybe he introduced Xavier Gens to Jude Poyer, but it does have the sort of stamp of that, which is like that stunt, for example, of the guy falling and you seeing him land and being like, whoa, that looked like a guy just fell down there. And in that same sort of, I'd say it's the first kind of flurry of action in the movie, there's this very distinctive camera shot where someone kind of is thrown to the ground and the camera like tilts and moves with them, almost like the camera's sort of fallen over. I don't know how you would describe that shot, but it feels very, I think, I don't want to say Gareth Evans invented it, but definitely between Gareth Evans and Jude Poyer, that is something, it is very recognizably their style.
Yeah, well, you could be forgiven for thinking this was one of his movies, or certainly that final action sequence. It looks like
there are nods for sure.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if you've seen The Night Comes for Us.
No, what's that? I've never heard of it.
Yes, that is another Indonesian movie that came out maybe 4 or 5 years ago, directed by a guy called Timo Tjantento. I don't know how to pronounce his surname, but it is incredibly gory, bloody, stabby, just squirting blood, stabby Stabberson. It has Iko Uwais from the Raid in it. And the sort of finale action scene of this that happens in a lift very much put me in mind of that, because it just it goes from, there's a few snappy bits, people's heads going in glass that you're a bit like, whoa, it's it's sort of brutal,
it's visceral.
If it's like 1 out of 3 brutal, it suddenly just cranks it up to like 3 out of 3 on the just invented brutality scale.
I mean, there's I can't talk about this moment. We'll talk about it in a bit.
Let's hear your action replay moment.
Well, there are some films that like you watch them for one moment.
Okay.
And I feel like this is the film that you would watch for this one moment, basically.
I can't wait for this.
Which is when he's been stabbed through the arm with a big knife.
Yep.
And he's like bearing down on another guy in this lift, and he uses the knife that's in his arm to stab the guy to death beneath him, plunging it through his own arm. That is the moment, I think, that is unforgettable from this film, that you would just be like, I can't believe someone thought of
they've done that. Yeah.
And then they did it. But
Fair play, actually.
Well, what do you think? You're not in agreement that that's the...
Yeah, I mean, that is certainly a standout. That I will say, if you like the sound of this movie and you want to sit through, I think it's a good movie. I think it's not sort of a bad DTV movie that you have to sit through waiting to get to the action. It's not it's a absolutely solid movie. There's not like gaping plot holes, awful performances, janky CG, like whatever pulls you out of a movie. I think largely everyone's done a great job on the movie. But if you're like, I haven't got the patience for that, just the sort of end scene, just in the lift, really. There's an article on Polygon website, I want to say. I don't know if you had a chance to look at it, but it's sort of an article that's like one of the best elevator fights of all time or something. And whenever it appears on YouTube, which invariably some 12-year-old has already uploaded it, that's worth watching. I think that is a standout scene. Your action replay of the knife through the arm into someone's leg features in that scene. There's just, in that scene alone, there are several moments. Even rewatching it like an hour ago before we did this, I was sort of skimming through just to get the plot points in my head. And then I rewatched that bit and I was like, like sort of biting my fist, like, oh, I forgot. Oh,
but I suppose this is what I mean about like how what I would have liked more background to him, because that is a crazy thing to do or to be able to do. There's a guy, have you ever read a book called To the White Sea by James Dickey?
I have not.
It's notable because the Coen brothers have written a script based on the book, and it's one of their unmade movies.
Oh.
And it's in the book. There's no dialogue in the whole book, and it's about it's set in the Second World War, and there's a guy who just lived by himself in the woods, and then he joins the war effort, and then his plane crashes in Japan, and his whole life is like taking bears apart, and not bears, taking like skinning bears and just butchering deer, and it is bears, like, and just and skinning things and taking their bones out, and that's what he's like, that's what he knows.
Yeah.
And he just like brutally kills his way to the sea to get to safety, basically. And there's bits where he like makes weapons out of human bones from people he's killed. And but the thing is, I guess my point is, when you know that that's his background, that's who he is, like when he does stuff like that, you're not like, well, that's weird. You're like, that's what he does.
Yeah, when it gets to that level of inventive brutality.
Yes, exactly.
You kind of, it would be nice. Maybe it would be nice if there was a flashback of him being held in a POW camp and having to gnaw through his own ankle to escape, or getting a window into why he has even the ability in his head to think, Well, if I just continue pushing this knife through my arm, I probably can take this guy out. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. You're
Sorry.
overthinking it, but I think you're
overthinking
also right. Yeah.
But the other action replay moment actually is one that may seem minor, but like I was like, how the hell did they do that?
Oh yeah.
Is when they I can't remember where it is. Maybe it's in the the prostitute place.
Yeah.
Not the first prostitute place, not the cowboy bar, but the sort of Epstein-y house.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And
it's
he
quite murky, isn't it? There's a lot of
It's murky.
It's not to say that sex work is murky, but then it gets to the kind of like illegal side of it that's a little bit
grim.
murky. I only bring it up because there's been several movies that I've watched in maybe this season or the end of the previous one that delve into that topic of sort of like, it's child trafficking, isn't it? That's the term I'm after. Yeah.
Well, it's a good topic, I think,
it's a little bit
action.
grotty.
Yeah, it's a good topic for action movies though, because you earn the revenge.
Yes, it's sort of unforgivable, isn't it?
Yeah, it's totally unforgivable. It's the one thing I think that we can all agree when you see it, it's so unacceptable that if he was to kill everyone involved in it, obviously, and save the victims, you'd be like, yeah, cool. I'm
Absolutely
totally on board
fine.
with it. And so, I understand why they use it as a narrative point.
True, yeah.
But there's a bit where he smashes this guy's head through this glass cabinet, but it goes right through.
Yeah.
Like you see it. It's the same as it's the same sort of psychology as the stunt where he pushes him off the building.
Yeah.
You're
you
like,
see it from the
how
inside
the
of the
hell?
cabinet, right?
Yeah, it's like it's so well done, and the acting is brilliant from the guy getting his head smashed in. He's just like and I think he might be bleeding. I don't know. I just thought that is
Not enough credit for the stuntman.
brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the stuntman. Also, the stuntman. Like, if someone pushed my head in, like in a pretend fight, which is what it is, I'd be like, stop it. but I understand that I'm not a professional stuntman.
Tom, why didn't you become a stunt person?
Now, stop doing that.
Stop
it. But I just thought that
again
was
is
a great
another
moment.
sort of signature, I would say, of, well, I'm going to have to say it's a sort of Jude Poyer signature, but I don't know, between him and Gareth Evans and whoever the sort of Uwe's team that worked on the raid and started the ball rolling, or at least put it more into our kind of periph of this level of like martial arts violence that is bone crunchingly graphic at times, and shots like that, where people's, it's like the sort of I think Gareth Evans calls them like punchlines, where in a fight scene it's punctuated by a memorable moment. I guess like Jackie Chan would do it with comedy beats.
Yeah.
And in these, in a lot of more of the sort of post-raid movies, it's those almost horror level sort of kills. The bit in the raid where he yanks the guy over the door and the broken door sort of lands on his neck. That sort of stuff.
Feels like we're moving into the wrapping up.
Wrap it up, Tom. Let's go.
I do think that it's definitely a story that I've seen a million times before.
No doubt.
I think I've even seen the world of Thailand explored.
Yep.
Like in this, where Only God Forgives springs to mind as like a similar sort of we're having horrible fights in Thailand.
Yep.
But it is filmed with style and like care to the emotion of the characters for sure. And I think it's worth watching. There should be more action in it, but it's worth watching just for the final 15 minutes of the film because it's so brutal and creative. Although I do think it's very similar to The Raid. Well, maybe it's just paying homage, or maybe it's just it is the similar team, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we live in a post-raid world, and yes, there are people who are all tangentially related to that. I don't disagree with anything you said. I think, it's a nicely made movie. Could it have had a little bit more action sort of sprinkled throughout the first hour? Without doubt, I think. If you're setting out to make a balls-out action movie, which the title Mayhem ! Maybe puts a bit too much pressure on that, I think.
I would say
it is
so.
called Farang, which I should have typed it into Google Translate, but I can only assume from the dialogue in the movie it means foreigner or outsider,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Seems to. Have you seen the 2007, speaking of French action movies, it's maybe a bit more of a thriller than an action movie, I would say, actually, but have you seen Revenge, 2017 movie, Revenge?
I have not, no. I've heard that's quite unpleasant in parts as well.
Very unpleasant, very unpleasant.
We're sort of building a picture of the type of violence that you like to see on screen, I think, Tom.
But that's what I'm saying. But I like both.
I see.
And when it's in the middle, I'm not so keen. When it's like cartoonishly over the top, when it's like
That's
RoboCop,
okay as well. Yeah,
RoboCop, great. You know, falling in the vat of radioactive sludge, great.
Love it.
Or you know, someone's cutting you with a razor blade.
Breaking Bad at the end of Drive gets his gets cut by a razor blade. Oh, that's so horrible. That lives rent free in my head because it was so horrific.
Exactly. Have you seen A Prophet?
Yes, I have. There's some razor blades in that as well, aren't they?
Yeah, famous. It's just that's the unforgettable scene.
Is there has a wild animal loosed in your house?
No, I'm just really hungry, and that's my tummy rumbling. Yes, there's a dog. Yeah, there's a dog's come home. Feels
as good a time as any to wrap up when there's a loose dog running amok through your house. I feel like we're largely on the same page with this one. I think maybe I enjoyed it a tiny bit more than you because I sit through a lot of straight to video action movies. So when one is packaged as a sort of nicely full-formed feature that also has really high-quality action, that for me is kind of that's the special sauce. You know, that's the rare John Wicks of this world. Also, it's the first action movie I've watched this year, so I'm quite delighted that we've started with a solid one. And there's already a couple of great-looking ones in the tank. January is shaping up to be pretty exciting.
Well, I'd say there's quite a lot of action in Christmas at the Drive-In. They've got to get the hot chocolate machine working before they open for the first movie. God,
Christmas themed action movies is a whole genre unto itself. Have you watched? We can't talk about it for 20 minutes, but have you watched Silent Night from this Christmas just gone?
I haven't.
John Woo's Return to Hollywood. You watch that and you get back to me.
Oh man, I was just thinking about John Woo the other day. Apparently, on his first film, he gave like his shot list to the DOP, and there was like 50 setups. Just for if you don't know the average is like 10 a day.
Yeah.
That would be actually ambitious.
Enormous fan.
Yeah,
John Woo.
he's
not
the king,
a fan of
he?
Silent Night. I will leave it at that. Yeah. Have a peep of it, and we'll talk off pod about it. I covered it in the last episode.
Do you know what? Well, I was, with the what with the button and what with the Chihuahua. Yeah. This really has been. I feel like I've brought some mayhem ! To the podcast, Simon, and I can I can apologize. I just must apologize.
He's a storyteller, and he knows how to wrap things up. You've literally put a button on this scene. And that's an improv term for anyone who is nerdy and interested.
Could be alienating, you could say.
Tomo, before you go, if people wanted to find you, find your work, find your art, which you would love to shift from your loft, I imagine, and I don't mean to undersell it. I'm a huge fan of it, and I think if people have a look at it, we will... The amount of people that listen to this podcast, the overlap of people whose walls have got space for a huge canvas, we're gonna empty your loft minutes after this drops.
Yeah, just follow me on Instagram if you want a painting. Have a look at them and send me a message. Why not?
Fair play. I'll put the link down below because Levin is spelt in a sort of, it's Levinge, isn't it? If we were going to mispronounce it like we did the French. Do you want to say your own name in a French accent to sort of send us away? That seems like a fitting sort of close brackets.
What sort of like Tom LEVINGE?
I love that. Hey, if you want to follow the podcast on all the social medias, you can find the pod itself as a concept on Twitter at DodgeThisPod. You can find me at Simon Fielder on all the places of note. Just go to my website, simonfielder.com, and all the links will be there. If you want to support the pod with actual real earth money because somebody gave you a fat envelope for Christmas, there's a link below. And good Lord, I must plug this. I'm relaunching my once a year newsletter in the coming weeks, and I'm New Year's resolutioning to try and get it out every few weeks. It'll be me talking about things like movies, stuff I've made, probably talking a bit about India, where I live, because it's quite different to where I'm from. So I'll have a wry point of view. Who knows? We'll see. It will be what it will be. Thanks so much for listening. We will see you in a couple of weeks' time for another episode of Dodge This. Tom, join me in making as much noise as you can as I say goodbye.
Bye-bye.